in 2020, we talked about this when we did the Zoom podcast. The rise of digital, right? And you guys have been. I mean, and I know this was post the closing of CrossFit San Francisco, but you guys were making content for the Mobility Wad and then the Ready State like crazy. You guys could have turned on some kind of remote fitness video kind of scenario. Sure. The one thing that caught me off guard, a lot of CrossFit affiliates they didn't like the digital thing. And then there was a reminder for those of us that come from old school. I found CrossFit in 05, 06. CrossFit started as an online remote program, an online fitness program, really, and then it became a brick and mortar. Everyone was like, "Oh, we were all brick and mortars. CrossFit's brick and mortar, and now all these online really programming people." I'm like, no, brother, it was the wrong. I know you maybe haven't been here long enough. Let me get the history.
You were doing it by yourself.
Yeah,
in a garage.
100%, and then you were just making internet friends with James Fitzgerald and APT.
There was 3 boxes.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But with where it is now with digital, and obviously that's what the Ready States. You guys are all digital. Are you guys in person with any functions yet or any seminars?
We have, we've put I think close to 20,000 people through our level 1 course. We did
Since inception?
Since inception.
Okay.
We've been doing we've just moved our 102, our assessment course. We have a formal assessment course. That now is a 6-week course where you get dripped out and then you have office hours with us once a week. And so it's kind of a hybrid. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then what we'll do as soon as we can, we will do some kind of hybrid where because right now, like for example, we shut our 102 cohort off at 60 athletes, 60 coaches, because we just were like, we want it to be so dense and they can, you start to become unmanageable scale. But probably a third are international or more, all over the world. And because we are digital international, we can capture everyone who couldn't come travel to because it's so expensive. So I think we have 12 countries represented right now in our current cohort.
How would you grade your digital product versus if you could go in person and you could scale yourself to go to New Delhi, whatever?
That's a really good question. Ideally, one of my first pain points with CrossFit was that I had this 1-day course and it was the #1 SME killed, and I had too much to talk about in one day. And it was too much. It was
Did you push for it to make it 2 days, the level 1 and 2?
And I really pushed for it, and they were not into it. And I think, for whatever reason, I can only speculate. Money being probably a large driver. It was a big cash cow.
It was a 2-day. You could have charged the same amount that they do per the level 1.
I usually taught one on Saturday and one on Sunday, right? So I did these 2 things back to back. But I was like, hey, I want to move this 101 online because I feel like people can't absorb it enough. And I got so good at it, and people were coming who were beginners and people who had seen every video and read the book and everything else, and me trying to stitch that together in one coherent, cogent day for people was a lot. Because people would be like, I've done every mobilization, watched every video you've ever done. And then people were like, what's your leg? What was the leg again? And I was like, okay, that's a lot. So we wanted to move it online because we realized there was so much more I wanted to add to that course. And so now what I'll say is, because we were rooted in person, because there's no substitute for being in one place, and the world has changed even in in-person courses. I mean, CrossFit started putting up courses in line. Like, Perform Better would do its summits, but CrossFit was like one of the first groups. It was like, come for a day, learn this. We hosted the first CrossFit, Rob Wolf's class. We hosted the first, Power Athletes. We did the first one with Rob Orlando. Like, we hosted and test drove a lot of those, and that was really an amazing heady time. And all of a sudden, there's 10,000 courses. And that's just now super glutted, right? I mean, it was Mike Bergner's course or nothing. And now all of a sudden, you're like, well, who do I want? I want to go with Chinese. I want to go with Ma.
You were in Charlotte. Glenn Pendley opened up the muscle driver, the equipment company. I mean, literally, there was an Olympic, and he had his little team of weightlifters, and he had a different Olympic weightlifting. All those athletes would just hit different CrossFit gyms. There was a different Olympic weightlifting cert every weekend for 4 years.
For 4 years. It was just like, I was like, okay, well, we can't go to the well as many times. So what we realized is that, where would you travel to? Okay, it's less and less, and it's so glutted, and that shyness is worn off. So we have to be able to deliver that information other places. So we've been in this digital space for a minute, and then what we've realized is that we can actually do a better job of micro learning. So our live in-person course for 2 days is like they're like 10-hour days, and I usually start in the morning early and we train together. And if there's a pool, we do pool sessions afterwards, and we try to. I'm just like, I want to over deliver. Like, you've spent all this money to come see me. I'm gonna blow your fucking face off. Like, I will never. I don't even take lunch. Let's go. Like, I don't need to, like, you know, hide. I'll stay here until you can't take it anymore. And that was our commitment. And then people would just had their, you know, being rocked. So then what we ended up doing is realizing that, man, if we can give these little drips out and then sum up, then it was much more manageable. We had much better adherence, much better integration of the material. And then I think we'll bring people back in terms of camps and try to support. Because, again, there's no substitution for being in this. This magic is magic. And as long as you are engaged in a virtual program and you're not in a bunker somewhere in Antarctica, you need to go train with other people. And guess what? Jesus said that. Muhammad said that. Buddha said that. He's like, it's great you pray by yourself. That's really what Jesus said, but magic happens when there's more than one person together at the same time, right? And I was like, well, weird. It's almost like we've been talking about this for as long as there have been people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
masturbation's great, but have you tried sex?
Yeah, it's right. It really is.